scales too. Sound of Silence is written in the Dorian modal scale, and that's a perfectly legitimate Western music scale, except very few people use it. The Little Drummer Boy, which I'll play for you right now, is written in the Mixolydian scale, which is the same as a major scale, except the seventh note's flatted. And you find that scale a lot of times in folk music, back in the mountains. The American folk music is largely based on, country music is based on English and mostly Irish, Scottish songs. The black music, blues, is its own endemic form, and that's incorporated sometimes in folk music too. But the pure country music is mostly second generation Irish, which I love to remind my friend Dennis and Kathy, who played here last night, who tell me that this is not Irish music. Well, they don't play it in Ireland, but you can play Irish music on it. It still sounds pretty good. Try doing that on the guitar. You can't do it because you're going to get all the chromatic notes and it'll sound terrible. So that's one advantage to it. Anyhow, that's the old way to play. They don't always use a noter. We still use it sometimes in some songs today. It sounds good. We want to play just finger style. I'll just play one. This is a banjo tune, and played on 2 or 3 strings, and it's finger style. It's playing all the strings and strumming. One thing I've noticed about a dulcimer, you look at a fiddle player and they just sit there and they're playing at the speed of light, and their fingers are going like this and they're not moving their hand. And I say, well, pull on you if I have to play this, and I got to move all the way up and down the fretboard. It helps to have big hands in the dulcimer because you can't stay in one position. You're going to move all over the place. One disadvantage. Now, that's one style. I said they sound like bagpipes, and I'll try to play something in the bagpipe style, just to show there's another way to play them. If you know Will You Know Come Back Again? bagpipes. I personally, I like the fact that you can play fiddle tunes on this, fast picking. Another style that's really nice, I'm not real good at it, but finger picking, and just use your fingers instead of a pick. And let me play a song that some of you may know. This is a Welsh This is a Welsh song which is found in every Christian hymnal from here to California and back again, and everybody's got a different name for it, but the real name for it's the Loon Tenders. And this is finger picked, and I'll probably use most of the strings to play notes on this one. Basic finger picking. You can do a lot with that you can't do with a regular pick. And then, of course, the old traditional style, newer style, for old-timey music. And we had an argument last night over bluegrass and old-timey music. And my comment on that is I like bluegrass, but I usually can't play it because I play at the speed of light. Bluegrass is old-timey music played in overdrive. One of my favorite West Virginia fiddle tunes. This is I've heard this. People clog dance to this. You get the rhythm, and actually, when these instruments first came out, the dulcimer, that was about all they had. They sometimes made their own banjos. They sure didn't have a guitar until they could afford to buy one. And they would dance to these. We had what Gene Ritchie called a play party, where they would dance to them. And this is a good one to clog dance to. The title's very interesting. It's called West Fork Girls. It was written about how shall I put this, a dancing establishment populated by soiled doves who catered to the needs of the miners and the timber people in West Virginia on the West Fork Road. Let's leave it at that. Styles that one thing I like very much about a dulcimer that I don't, yeah, you can do it on the guitar and so on, is in the minor key. And this thing, for some reason or other, is great, to me anyway, in a minor key. I like to play an old song. I found out that was, my father-in-law told me in the Second World War this was quite popular, and that he was in the Navy in the Pacific. They still play it in the Grand Ole Opry. I've heard it. I've heard this played by the house band at the Grand Ole Opry, and then the Chieftains, which is an Irish group, played the same song. They said, "Hey guys, this comes from Ireland," and I never knew. It's in the Pines, and this is an E minor. Leadbelly apparently recorded this, and I can't think of the country by it. Oh, I'm sorry. My daughter said, "Why don't you tell them about the capo?" You can change the key. If you tune the dulcimer right, you can change the keys without retuning by using the capo. This is a banjo capo. It cuts the strings off. And I was tuned in open D. If I capo on the first fret, D, that's D to an E. So now I've got an E scale. And the way it works out on dulcimer is an E minor scale. It's not E major, it's E minor. If I put the capo up here, I'm in G. Up here, I'm in A. I don't have all the notes, but I can at least play up there. And the reason I can do that, if you can see this, the fretboard's raised up off the sound box. And this is not my idea. This was done by, at least by J. Edward Thomas down in Kentucky in the early 1900s, because I've seen him in the Smithsonian Institute when he had the bridge fretboard like this. It gets the fretboard up off the soundboard, makes it a little bit louder. Plus, the neat thing about it is you can stick a capo on it now instead of some crazy setup like some other players have. Anyhow, this is in the minors, in the pines in a minor scale. C minor. Anybody know All Numbers I Wander? It's beautiful in the dulcimer, and it's so easy to play. It should be played on dulcimer. That's laser cut, and it's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful.
I used to play
It's a little deeper.
Yeah, well, it varied. I don't like making more than 2 inches deep, but that's personal.
I think it's about 2 and 4.
Yeah, that's. When they get too deep, they don't sound good. I bet some guy made about that. They get muddy. Yeah, and they get too shallow, they don't sound.
Well, I don't have to go too shallow.
I have one about 1.5 inches deep, you know, like that. It sounds pretty good when they get below that. You lose it.
Every time I hear
The whole thing of and then my daughter was out of
Do you have one? Would you like to get one?
every time I hear one,
Yeah. Would you like my?
I would like your card. Yes, we have around here. Now, where are you so
Which ones?
well,
The Irish?
in this area.
Oh, yeah. Irish, it's strictly Irish except for